I'm just beginning the walk in to these 3 Munros in Newtonmore. It's a super nice day. It's a little overcast, but apparently the sun's coming out later. There's almost no wind. It's super mild, even though I've got a puffy on. It's yeah, really good weather. And you'll see in some of my clips just how beautiful it is here. But it's a route of 3 Munros today. Not super long. I think it should be about 4 or 5 hours for me. But yeah, let's get going. And there's been quite a lot of rain the past few days. So you'll see kind of in some of my videos just how boggy it is here at the moment. Definitely gonna end this day with some soggy feet. But yeah, there comes a certain point in Scotland where you kind of just accept that your feet are soggy and your trouser legs are muddy. It's not the end of the world, so to speak, although it's most certainly not the most enjoyable thing with ice cold water touching your feet this early in the morning, which is why boots are kind of the standard choice for, let's say, most regular, less concerned about speed hikers. But as someone that somewhat stupidly likes to be fast and light at all times, trail runners are still the way for me. And you may think at this point Gore-Tex trainers would be the way, but unfortunately lots of the time the water's going above your ankle line, so the only thing they do is just retain the moisture better. I like to opt for just a trail runner and embrace slightly soggy feet on occasion. Okay, so that was a little unplanned river crossing. I think just where a lot of snow's melted the past week or so. In combination with the rain, all the crossing points were submerged. So yeah, I kind of walked to a part of the river where it wasn't flowing crazily heavily, brought up my pants and just had to walk through. It was not the best way to start the morning, but a funny experience. Thankfully, it's warming up to 12 degrees today, so I'm not super concerned about the cold on my feet, which 2 weeks ago would have been more of a concern. But we're finally ascending past kind of the boggy mess of that last section that I was walking through. It feels like as soon as my feet reach a state of moderate dryness and I start to warm up a little, there's another bog, which is currently making this not the most enjoyable experience. It's just kind of half a kilometer or so of dry terrain, and then you kind of reach an unpassable bog section where you're having to kind of squat your way through, which I guess goes with being in Scotland after quite a lot of rain. But it's not the most enjoyable experience at the moment, but hopefully once we kind of ascend a little higher, that will change and we'll get out of this nonsense, which is just squatchy mud. Now, one thing I would say at this point is that this ascent so far, I'm probably an hour in, really has not been super enjoyable. I think this is one of those routes where if you're not a Munro bagger, you're not kind of intentionally going out to take off Munros and perhaps you just enjoy hiking, then I would personally find something else. It's pretty pathless, kind of heathery ascent up the first Munro. Loads of bog sections. It's just and the views are very average so far. Like, it really doesn't seem to be a kind of unique in how beautiful it is here. Like, it very much seems just kind of average, and when you look at the Munros, it's very much like a kind of like the rest around sort of Dalwhinnie area, where they're just quite featureless, at least as far as I can see at the moment. And the kind of nonsense that you're having to go through to get there just makes it perhaps questionable as to whether you would want to do this. Like, I know personally, if I was just hiking for fun, this is not a route I'd necessarily take. Kind of with an end goal, can push you through, make you do it. So I've just reached summit of Munro number 1. It was only about 600 meters of ascent, so not super long, which is kind of typical of Munros around here because the towns are so high up. But yeah, Munro number 1. There's a pretty nice view all around from here, and I'm just enjoying a little celebratory beverage, as is kind of my tradition for Munro number 1. Usually just give me some caffeine because always after the biggest climb I feel a little tanked. But yeah, we're gonna have this stop for maybe 2 or 3 minutes and then get going on to the next one, which is just behind me if I flip around this direction. So, rather confusingly, I'm currently at the summit of Munro 2, but there are actually 2 summit camps, so I just for good measure went to the one that was further away. I think on the map it looks like it was the closer one, but I would rather walk 30 minutes than technically not summit this mountain. And yeah, now I think there's quite a long stretch over to Munro number 3, because these 2 are pretty close together. And yeah, then I think it's again a pretty long trek back to the car. Like, it's not super steep, but just long. But yeah, gonna get walking. I passed a bunch of people, but I can't even see them on the first Munro summit, so I don't know. They're just maybe taking lots of breaks. So where I'm heading is just along that ridge, all the way over to this in the distance. So I can now see where I'm going. It's all pretty flat. Looks pretty easy. Just I think it's quite a long descent, and so yeah, prepare my joints for that. But overall, I'm just starting at such a high elevation, like to knock even like 300 meters of ascent off, and then all the Munros being like 900 meters, just means it's never gonna be that crazy long of a day out, which is quite nice. I mean, it's only 3 Munros, so nothing crazy strenuous, but yeah, gonna keep on going. Should be maybe 30 minutes until we're at the summit of Munro number 3. You can kind of see the roof from here, so I've kind of been walking along here. That is Munro number 2 in the distance, and Munro number 1 is over there. It's amazing, they never look super far away, you know, when you're stood kind of looking at them retrospectively, but it's a fair amount of walking that I've done already today. And yeah, thankfully not a huge amount of ascent and descent between the Munros, which definitely makes things a lot more manageable than they otherwise would be. Yeah, keeping on going now, pushing on to the summit of Munro number 3. The path of descent this far has just been a waterfall through like grass, which is never a very enjoyable experience, but such is life. We're moving on. We've dropped down about 250 meters from the summit of Munro number 3. But yeah, it's good. I kind of stopped for about more like 5 or 10 minutes. Just had a snack, had a couple of croissants, which was exciting, and then yeah, just following this path, which I'm hoping is really a path and not just a waterfall the entire way back to the car. So yeah, we're gonna get moving. I have to cross this little stream. I figured I would and take advantage of its presence and fill up my little bottle while I was here. It's pretty fast flowing, so I'm gonna cross back where I filled up, but I feel like my feet may end up being soggy once again. So I've been descending now for roughly an hour and 15, I believe, and I'm still only about halfway back to the car. It's just been so boggy. It's honestly just been really unenjoyable, but kind of the necessary evil of like what I did and the route I did. You sort of have to descend this way. But yeah, it's just been so boggy like the entire time. Yeah, this is actually one of the only dry bits that I've had in the past like hour 15, which for any of you that have hiked in conditions like these, you'll know, like it's it's very much an unenjoyable experience. Since my last update where I was slightly less happy, let's say, I've rejoined this kind of farm track essentially, which thankfully is not super boggy, so my feet have remained dry for the past 30 minutes or so. Yeah, almost at the car. There's maybe a couple of kilometers left, so only about 20 or so minutes until I can finally say we're done. I saw some really cool frogs, which I took some pictures of, which I'll attach now. And also a bunch of frog spawn, some of which was hatching while I watched it, which is very nice. The sun's out, feeling a lot better. Now that I've got out the boggy mess that I was in previously, and that I've actually been able to make some good progress. So yeah,